No response. You're going to lose $8,000. You're going to finish in second place. What a run. Thank you for the 2 months you spent with us. It was very special. It was remarkable. We'll be seeing you again in the Tournament of Champions.
It's really been an honor. I mean, just to really know that, like, I'm, one of the most successful people at a game I've loved since I was a kid, wanted to be on since I was a kid, and just to know that I'm part of its history now, I don't even know how to process it.
Amy Schneider's incredible run on Jeopardy came to an end in game number 40, which puts her at number 2 on the list of the longest Jeopardy streaks ever. And she earned almost $1.4 million, which means she tops the list of the most money earned. Now, Katie Couric, who interviewed her last week, commented on Amy's post yesterday, "You were a pleasure to watch, Amy. Congratulations on your incredible run." And Glad wrote, "Congratulations, Amy, on your historic run. We can't wait to cheer for you in the Tournament of Champions. Thank you for being your smart, charming self and allowing millions of nightly viewers to get to know you." And today, Glad's Anthony Ramos found out how Amy is going to spend that cash.
I'm going to go to Union Square here in SF and find some designer stores and spend too much money on some clothes for sure. We're definitely thinking of buying property. We're in the Bay Area, so with taxes, it's still not really a mortgage by itself. But right. We'll see. We've got a meeting with a financial planner. We're going to talk about that. But definitely also, pay down some credit card debt and travel. We're going to go to Ireland and we're looking at where else we might want to go.
Now, Amy also did an exit interview with Jeopardy, which was posted tonight. And I got to say, I was disappointed. This might be too industry insider, but Sarah was clearly asking Amy a question about what it's been like to be a trans woman having this experience, but asked it in a really vague way. Yeah, take a look.
So Amy, a lot of people have been watching your journey. They're curious about your story. And what would you like to share with them?
It's really important to do two things. And one of them is to be proud of your identity, to own your identity and to accept your identity. And the other thing is to not make that, you don't have to let that define you. That the great things about you are the same things that are great about anybody. Whatever it is in your case, your intelligence, your kindness, your courage, your, any of those things, like that's who you are just as much as any other part of your identity. And you deserve to be celebrated for all of those things.
So yeah, what annoys me about that is that Sarah was clearly asking about what it's been like to be a trans woman and being on Jeopardy. But not really asking about it. So then Amy gives a really vague answer without using any terms. And Amy's answer actually comes across as somewhat degrading towards herself, which I'm sure that wasn't her intention, but because she has to talk very vaguely, that's how it comes across. My thing as a reporter or interviewer, if you want to ask about something, ask about it. Like, give that person the respect that I'm going to kind of ask about it, but not really ask about it. Sometimes you really have to consider how you're going to phrase the question, but ask about it. So yeah, I was disappointed that Jeopardy didn't acknowledge it in this exit interview. But Glad's Anthony Ramos was much more direct with Amy about what the experience has been like.
I, definitely was concerned about, being trans in public. That can go bad for people sometimes. But once my episode started airing, I was really surprised by how overwhelmingly positive it was. There were definitely negative comments out there, and I definitely read a few more of them than I should have, but there weren't that many. And almost everybody was just happy for me and accepting and great. But I remember one specifically about a trans person saying that, their 84-year-old grandfather or something, because from watching me had just sort of finally, clicked and was understanding to use the right pronouns and right name for people. And while I had, it was relatively smooth with my family, there were a few bumps at first, and I know what that's like. And to know that I've been able to, get some families out there past that kind of painful interactions is just really, really great.
Yeah, and that's why representation matters. Look, yes, I'm doing this segment through the perspective of Amy being a trans woman. Some of you are going to say, you know, why am I highlighting that? It shouldn't be a big deal. It is a big deal. She's the first trans woman, trans person to be on Jeopardy and have this kind of streak. So it is important to highlight. There's a lot of interviews that she's done over the past 24 hours, and yeah, a lot of them are just talking about her being a Jeopardy champion, and that's great. And hopefully eventually that will be the conversation, how she is a Jeopardy champion. But to fit myself into the conversation, I thought it was important to highlight that she is a trans person and what she's doing for the world. Because we've come to know that how you change people's minds is to just see these others in situations that they are comfortable with. Like, so much of the fear of the other is that they're unknown. You don't know who are these gay people, who are these other races. I don't really know what they're about. And then when people see them in contexts that they are familiar with, then they're like, oh yeah, they're just like me. So yes, this is so important to see Amy in this role and doing so well and being such a great representation of that community. So it's very subtle, but it really changes perceptions. But yeah, what do you think about Amy's journey on Jeopardy?